Welcome back to Rare Elvis Photos. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Today was very busy for me on a Monday. I actually went out and I had to work, of course. I have a day job. But I also picked up a couple more cat houses, or cat trees, to go in the cat house that we have for our cats. Um, and for those of y'all that have been asking about Binksy, that outdoor cat that's feral, we bought it a heated house on the front porch. He just doesn't want to go into it. But now the temperatures are pretty decent, so we don't worry about him. When I guess, he actually sat outside and he went near the heater, but he didn't freeze to death when it was only 6 degrees, 10 degrees, and he want to run around, play in the snow. So I guess some cats can get used to really cold temperatures, but my goodness. I would have went in that house if I were him. Thank you for the super thanks that have happened lately. Appreciate that very much. Very kind of you to leave those for me. And somebody asked me if I was going to read some more of this Linda and Me by Jeanne LeMay Dumas. So let's do it. All right. So where we left off. See, I remember one day, I'm not sure which city it was in, but I was in their suite and Elvis invited me into his bedroom. I didn't know where Linda was, but in any case, it was just the two of us in his room. Okay, so that's where we read. He was reading from the prophet, and Linda came back in, and she was all dancing around and moving, and she's trying to show off a new outfit, and Elvis just kept reading. And then finally, he burst out laughing and gave her a well-deserved round of applause, followed by a warm hug. And I thought to myself, you earned that one, Linda. Now, he was always so unpredictable, Jeanne says. You could never guess what Elvis might do next. He always had hidden surprises hidden up his sleeve. In Atlanta, I was about to get one of the biggest shocks of my life. I was in my room when the phone rang, and it was Linda. Hey, Jeanne, can you come down to our suite? Elvis has something he wants to show you. Sure, I said. I'll be right down. When I got to their place, there were a lot of people milling around, and Linda took me back into their bedroom and closed the door. Joe Esposito and Lowell Hayes, Elvis's personal jeweler, was sitting in some chairs around the room. Elvis walked in wearing a blue bathrobe and a big grin on his face. He handed me a little white box with my name on it. Honey, he said, I want you to have this. What for? I asked. I haven't done anything to deserve whatever this is. You're already paying for me to travel with my best friend Elvis. I can't take this. No. Yeah, you've been a good friend to Linda, and I want you to have it. Now, honey, you come over here and sit down on this chair and open it. Well, he took me by the hand and led me over to the chair and insisted I sit in it and open the box. He sat across from me on the edge of the bed as I reluctantly complied. I saw Linda standing over me with a mischievous grin, and my first thought was that it might be one of his famous gags, and something might pop out of the box. I cautiously opened the white box, which revealed a smaller green velvet box, which I opened. And then I saw it. It was a monster-sized 3.5 carat yellow gold cluster ring arranged in 25 individual diamonds. So let me read that again. It was a monster-sized 3.5 carat yellow gold cluster ring arranged in 25 individual diamonds. The light shined off of every diamond, cascading like a waterfall of illumination from inside the box. Well, my mouth dropped open, and something happened that doesn't usually happen very often for me. I was speechless, Jeanne said. I slammed the box shut, and I started bawling. I just couldn't move. I was so overwhelmed with emotion that I just sat there staring at the box and crying like a baby. All my life, I wanted a ring like that, and just couldn't bring myself to believe that I was actually holding it in my hands, and that it was now mine. Elvis looked at me with that famous crooked grin and said, wait a minute, let me put it on your finger. Well, he took the box out of my hand, opened it, and tried to put the ring on my trembling finger, but it wouldn't fit. It was just a little too small. Well, never one to let minor details like that get in a way where a diamond ring is concerned. I said, wait a minute, and I rubbed a little saliva from my mouth onto my finger, and it popped right on. But maybe it wasn't very ladylike, but at that point, I didn't care. The first thought that popped into my mind was that it was the closest thing in the world to being engaged to Elvis Presley. After several minutes of stuttering and stammering, I jumped up and I hugged his neck and I thanked him repeatedly. Elvis pointed out that the diamonds were arranged in the shape of a cross. In the excitement, I had not noticed that detail. I found out later that Linda had helped in the selection, knowing how much I loved yellow gold, and that, of course, made it much more special. I was to find out later that the ring was one of 15 that Elvis gave away on the 2-week tour. He had given one to the wife of his karate instructor just because he'd seen her crying about something. It was just his nature. He loved giving things away because it gave him pleasure and made him feel happy. And it definitely worked with me. Now, I stayed awake in my room that night by myself, just staring at the ring and moving it around under the light. It was not as if I needed anything to remind me of this, of his and Linda's love and generosity, but this, I thought, was sure a great token of it. This is the book right here that we're reading. So if you haven't ever seen this book, you can find it. And I think here's the ring right here that she's talking about. Let me see if I can get this a little closer. There it is. That's a good picture right there. Look how gorgeous that is. So Elvis just didn't just buy rings. He designed them. That's the creativity. I mean, of course, Linda helped him on that too. All right, let's read some more. Even though that finished that one chapter there. Mind if I take a picture? On our second night in Atlanta, which was a Saturday, I had gone to Elvis and Linda's hotel suite shortly before Elvis was to give his evening performance. I was wearing a black dress with a red rose on the waist that I had bought several days earlier in Pittsburgh with money that Elvis had given me for clothes. I felt very special wearing it, knowing it was a special gift from Elvis. Elvis had on a multicolored outfit that was beautiful. Linda had on a beautiful multicolored print outfit, and Elvis was in his jumpsuit looking as handsome as ever. Now, having my trusty little Instamatic camera with me, I recognized the potential photo op. Elvis, you and Linda look so great. Would you mind if I took a picture of you? He smiled at me and said, sure, honey, that'd be fine. Let me see if I can find this picture. She has a print, and he has a jumpsuit. I'm guessing it's got to be in this book, maybe. There it is. All right, there's the picture. See if I can get it any closer. Kind of hard because I got this stand in the way, but maybe I'll do this here. Well, you have to turn sideways and look at it. Sorry, folks. Maybe it's too late. Have to stop myself loving you. And then there's a picture that he took with Jeanne. I believe it's the same night, right? Yeah. Anyhow, hopefully that came across looking decent. Oh. All right. Elvis, you and Linda look great. Would you mind if I get a picture of the two of you? And he smiled and said, sure, honey, that'd be fine. I was amazed at how calm he was, considering he was getting ready to perform in front of several thousand fans within the hour. I found out later that he was not always that calm before a show. Well, I posed the two of them in a corner of the room where we had been snacking on some food and snapped a picture. Fortunately, the table of dirty glasses and dishes directly behind them didn't show up in the picture. Well, I handed the camera to Linda, and she got ready to take a picture of me and Elvis, standing in the same spot. Before she snapped the picture, Elvis leaned over me and said, I got something to tell you. Lean over here and let me whisper it to you. Without realizing he was setting me up, which he loved to do, well, I leaned in close to him. Oh. He whispered something nasty in my ear. I don't remember what it was, and I burst out laughing. I was able to tone it down to a grin just as Linda clicked the picture. He loved doing things like that. Let me see. Yeah, she's grinning. Look at that. Let's see here. By this time, I should have been used to his hijinks where photos were concerned. I was honored that he even allowed me to take them at all. He was not known to allow a lot of candid photos to be taken of him. By now, I was starting to consider myself to be somewhat of an old hand about it where he was concerned. Now, this had not been the first time I had taken pictures of him. The first time had been when Linda and I met him at Graceland the first night, and I took photos of him and Linda on the front porch. Those photos, however, for some reason never came out. They had somehow come out overexposed. Huh, interesting. My second photo session of Elvis had been in the hotel suite in Atlanta before he'd given me a ring. Oh, I'm sorry, folks. I apologize for yawning. It's been a long day. I didn't sleep very good, and I got up really early and drove around a lot. And I did want to get some reading, and I told my wife, I said, you know, I'm not very motivated right now, but I feel like I really got to go put something on the channel for the folks, because I haven't been as consistent as I was in the prior 6 months, really. So I apologize. My job has just been very, very busy. But you're important to me, and I hope you know that. Okay, so the first time had been when Linda and I met at Grace, and it came out overexposed. The second photo session had been in the hotel suite in Atlanta before he had given me my ring. He was dressed in one of his karate suits, and Linda had looked stunning in a harem-style outfit, prompting me to ask if I could get a shot of the two of them. He had generously agreed, and I got a great shot of the two of them sitting together. For some reason that I never quite fully understood, he then reached into his pocket and held up a federal narcotics officer's badge, and I quickly snapped that picture as well. I think that may have been the one he'd been issued after his famous visit with President Nixon. And needless to say, he was proud of it. Come on, Jeanne, he motioned. You need to be in the picture, too. A girl sitting on the sofa said, I'll take it for you. She took the camera from me, and I took my place next to Elvis, who dreamily looked at Linda as the girl took the picture. Please, I remember saying to myself, let this picture come out. Nobody's ever going to believe this. Luckily, it did. It's a good place to stop there. I'm going to see if I can find this picture for y'all in this book. Oh, yeah, this is here. Okay, so standing up. So there's that picture right there, see? Looking dreamily at Linda. And then on the bottom there, gotta get a little closer here, that is the federal narcotics badge that he held up, that she thinks might have been from the Nixon trip. Well, thank you for reminding me to do some reading. I did try to look at some comments and stuff the last couple of days as well, and like some of those and heart some of those. TCB TLC, I'll try to get a video loaded for the morning time as well. Do some reading back here. Till next time, this is Rare Elvis Photos.